Alright, this is going to be a kind of a tips and tricks tutorial here. We're going to be using this mode here. It allows the mouse to snap to feedback grid. And I'm not going to go over everything because I got other tutorials about this, and there's going to be an option here. And part of this tutorial, some of this is not going to matter, so you'll have to experiment with it. This also works on 2D and 3D objects. If we activate this here, I'm going to activate this here, and we're going to use this on a 3D object. Before I select this cube, I want you to look over right here on the right where my cursor's at when I tell you to. So when I select this feedback grid is actually this red and green line here. It's got these little slash marks through it. And if you go over to numpad, you can increase or decrease these little lines here by the plus and minus key. Alright, I'm going to click once and I'm going to snap this cube out. As you look over on the right there, it snapped to 10. It says 10.00. We'll just call it 10. So we'll do it again. It'll increments of 10 each time it goes up. 20, 30, 40. We'll bring that back down. Then we'll go over to numpad and we'll set the little snap until every 5 here. So we'll go like here, 10, 15, 20. So this works on 3D objects also. We'll just go ahead and delete that one. And this works on 2D lines, and this is like a precision tool. And if I was like to go right here, and let's say I was wanting to click here, see how it snaps? It's very handy. So I'll do some increasing or decreasing. See how it snapped here? I'll make it completely square real quick. I'll go I'll snap here once, go over here, snap up here, and close it. This is a precision tool. It's very handy. If I was to click, let's say here, and click up here, and my third click, I want it to be straight across from this bottom one. As you can see, it's precise. I can bring it across right here. I don't actually have to come back here to drag it across. I can come up here and bring it down, and it snaps right to it. To show you that it's perfect, we'll just go ahead and it'll be in the y-axis. We'll select here. As you can see, it says 68.439, and this one should say the same thing when I click it. 68.439. Alright, we'll go ahead and delete that. And for this next tip here, I got this line out here. Let's say the points are kind of irregular, you know, not spaced apart right. I like to use this with this little grid here. And when I take this grid, let me go ahead and click one time. See how it snapped to every 5 right here? It's about the same as the back grid on the viewer here. So I'll click one more. I'll bring it down like here. Click and drag down. And finish right here. And if I select an edge here, and we'll loop that, Control X and Control D, now my points are evenly spaced. Like I said, I like to use this back grid here on the back as a reference. And you can see all my points are evenly spaced. If I was wanting to match this curve here, we'll go into object mode. Go to utilities and use the bend tool. Make sure that you're in object mode. It won't work right. Then we'll use the bend option. And you can see we got 2 different curves, and one's got more evenly spaced points here. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go and grab primitive here, and I'm going to go ahead and just drag this out. And we'll scale this down here. Well, actually, let's go ahead and just make this precise by clicking, and that'll be good right there. I always go ahead and we'll zero these out. I'll just hit the backspace and center it by typing 50 in here and press enter. And let's go ahead and get a copy of this right here. Control C, Control V, and let's bring this on the other side. Alright, we know the y-axis is, we'll just call it 50 here. Both these are the same. Now, if I move this real slow by the manipulator, it'll snap. it will snap every 100th if I do it slow enough. If I go too fast, it might jump up an extra 100, but it always snaps to 100. So let's go ahead and try doing it real slow, and you can see it just snapped to every 100. So actually, you do not need the the indicator line with a slash mark for this to work. There's 2, 3, 400, and I can set it back down pretty close, or right on 50, to match the other one there. So that is pretty handy having something like that. If I was to turn it off, you'll see what happens. If I turn this off and try moving it real slow, you'll see this thing does not snap to every 100. It's kind of free floating, and it goes up just as I move it. It does not snap there. We'll just go ahead and delete this one here, and we'll turn that back on. I'm going to use this line here, and we're going to go over here, and I'm using this little transparency plane right here. I'm moving it right here. I'm moving it in this direction, and what I'll do is I'll activate the transparency, and we'll go in this mode here, and then when I move it, I'm going to move it over by this point, and what's going to happen is it's going to snap to that point, and I'm going to drag it up and all the way around this line here, and what's going to happen is it's going to snap to the point, and it's going to snap to the center of 2 points, which will be in the middle of this edge. Then it's going to snap to the next point, then it's going to repeat itself. So I'll bring it over here. I'll just get it kind of close so you can kind of see. We'll grab this little transparent plane here, hold the shift key, and it's going to snap right there. Now if I hold the shift key and drag up, it snapped in the middle. If I drag up again, it snaps to the point. So let's zoom this out here, and we'll repeat it and just go all the way up this line here. As you can see, it's following all the way around. Very handy little tool here. Another thing is, if you have 2 objects, we'll just go ahead and scale this one down, that you can take this one here. I'll bring this one across here a little bit more. This will, if I grab this here, this will put this one directly in the center of the sphere here. If I hold this here and drag to the center, hold the shift key, and you can see both the pivot points are at the same position. And just to prove it, we'll just go ahead. I had a video tutorial on this anyway, so we'll just redo this, put this one in. We'll mark this one here. And when I drag this sphere down here, and it's going to have the same position of this, 0, 0. All zeros here. Let's go ahead and zero this one out to make sure too. And when I do this sphere and drag it down here and hold the shift key, it's going to have the same coordinates. So I'll bring it here, hold the shift key, and snap. As you can see, I got the same coordinates. So if I was to hide it, you can see here. And if I select here, then we got this one here. And I also like, let's go ahead and let's select this here, click here, click one more time and drag. And this thing will also snap to the points and half edges on this. If I was to hold here, let's activate the transparency, shift key, holding the shift key, and if I go to the right, it'll snap halfway to the point. I'll go down halfway to the point. Now if I want straight up it, you go halfway, point, halfway, point, halfway, point, halfway, point. Alright, let me go over one last thing. Since I got this this little grid here, what I'll do is I'll just activate this line here and click here. And if we want to do another evenly spaced one, that's all we got to do is I'm not holding no shift key down or nothing. I'm just going to click here. As you can see, it's going to snap to every 5. It's coordinating exactly like this grid here. So I'll click here. I'm not even holding no shift key down, and they're all evenly spaced. And I'll just move this one over to the side here, just to prove a point, and then we'll do that again. So I'll select here, click, 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 click. And this is a very good way of making good evenly spaced points. So if I move it over, these points here are exactly aligned over here. Hold the control key and drag out. Anyway, thank you very much.